Hey, I'm Morgan, and today I'm going to talk about Mass Effect, the next game, and how far away it is. Obviously, with Mass Effect's in 7 Day 2023 coming out, having their big celebration, having the new teaser come out, having the poster come out, supposedly there's still being a bunch of hidden mysteries and mysterious things out there for us to still find as a fan base. I think the question has come up, and I've been proposing it for a while, of how far away is this Mass Effect game? There's all of this talk. We talk about how long other games have taken to make, and I think that's hard right now to judge because games are taking longer to make, even if their scale is similar to old ones because of higher graphical fidelity and things like that. So, to kick this off, I actually want to play a clip from a thing called, it's a Game Mess morning show. It's Jeff Grubb and a guest. It's typically different every week, where he does gaming news and stuff like that. Jeff Grubb typically is pretty well informed with EA, especially BioWare. He presumably has a pretty good source, either in EA and or BioWare, and broke news, like I believe when he was the first one to talk about Unreal Engine 5 being used on the next Mass Effect, even before I believe the job listings and stuff came out, seemingly confirming that. So check out this clip of him talking about how far away the next Mass Effect is, and then I'll commentate on that.
People, you want some original reporting? This game is just nowhere near coming out. This is
Oh, no shot.
I was told, so when they announced, or when they revealed Dragon Age Dreadwolf in 2018, this is similar in terms of timeline, where that was announced in 2018, and we're not getting that game to maybe next year. So now do the math for that, and we're talking 2029 for Mass Effect 5.
Okay, so there's the clip. So this is interesting. So I have to throw out just some honesty here. I'm coming at this from a fan's point of view. Grubb isn't 100% on the things that he says, though he does typically, he is pretty accurate when it comes to EA BioWare stuff. I can't tell what part of this is what a source told him and what he's extrapolating. So he says, he's been told this game is far away, or he says the game is far away, and he's been told it's a similar timeline to Dreadwolf. Well, then he extrapolates, well, Dreadwolf was supposed to come out in 2000, or started development in 2018, and it's probably going to come out in 2024. That's a 6-year production cycle. So if Mass Effect starts production in 2024, it's not going to come out till 2029 or 2030, which is a word that I can't even wrap my head around. And I have some questions about that. Typically, I would reach out to someone and ask for clarification on, is that 2029 date something that his source told him? I've tried to reach out to Jeff Grubb in the past in multiple ways. I've never heard back from him. I actually believe I'm muted and stuff on Twitter. I think I know why, and it's because another journalist lied about something, but that's fine. We'll move on. So I'll just go with what I know and what we can talk about. My issue with it is that he says a similar timeline to Dreadwolf. Well, the problem with that is that Dreadwolf isn't on its own timeline. When they started developing Dreadwolf in 2018, I believe it was supposed to be like a games as a service, co-op, MMO almost type of game that was going to have like a shared world and stuff like that. And as far as we know, that game has been rebooted at least once, if not multiple times, since 2018 when it started being developed. So the reason I find that timeline to be a little suspect is because I would assume, like most big AAA games, Dreadwolf was probably supposed to be in full production for 2 to 3 years and then release. That would have put the release date around 2020, 2021, maybe 2022 at the latest. Well, now it's not coming out till 2024, so we're talking about 2 or 3 years of delays due to lots of things. And at least the last thing that they've told us about Dreadwolf is that now it's a full single-player game. It doesn't have all of the multiplayer co-op stuff going on, and that they've switched it to a more traditional BioWare-style single-player game, which isn't that surprising because we're seeing that trend in EA in general, and the overall gaming industry seems to be bringing back and welcoming these single-player experiences again. So if the original plan was for Dreadwolf to come out in a more typical timeline, then if you apply that to the next Mass Effect starting development in 2024 and potentially coming out in 2026 or 2027, that's a timeline that makes more sense. To me, it's taking a multiple time delayed and rebooted game's timeline and applying it to a game that hasn't even entered production yet, that's had 4 or maybe 5 years of pre-production, which I bet Dreadwolf did not have, which is the scaffolding time. It's the pre-production is actually typically what helps with actual production efficiency. I think that 2029 date seems like something he came up with kind of on the fly based on a game that's already been delayed and rebooted. So maybe it does come out in 2029, the next Mass Effect. But that will likely be because they had to reboot and they had to delay significantly. And I'm assuming that this extensive pre-production cycle they're in with the game right now is trying to prevent those issues. The other part of it is kind of a stark reality of, I don't think that EA will be okay with that. This delay between Andromeda and Anthem and Dreadwolf, you're looking at Anthem coming out in 2018, I believe, and you're talking about if Dreadwolf comes out in 2024, a 6-year window since they've had a new revenue stream, a new game out. I know Mass Effect Legendary Edition came out, that remaster, and that probably actually was a pretty successful project and probably made them quite a bit of money. And so that revenue stream is there as well. But I'm more talking about what probably EA cares more about are big, flashy AAA releases. And the simple fact is that BioWare hasn't had one since Anthem, which didn't go well, as most of us know. And then the game before that was Andromeda, which had its own issues. Now, financially, I don't really know much about those two games. I'm under the impression they both did okay. If not, Andromeda may have done actually fairly well, but still not hitting numbers and metrics they would have preferred. So my whole thing is, I think it's kind of a miracle that Dreadwolf has been allowed to take this long to come out, even though I'm sure it's like a sunk cost fallacy thing where they are probably just hoping to break even with Dreadwolf because 6 years of full production is very expensive. Rebooting is very expensive. And my assumption, just from a logical point of view, is that there's no way EA will accept BioWare taking another 5 to 6 years after Dreadwolf comes out to release another IP, another revenue stream. It just doesn't make sense because, they just laid off 50 devs. That was a financial move. They cut off SWTOR and sent it to a third party to be carried on from there. That's a financial move. And that when that move was made, it was even talked about it being so they can focus on Dragon Age and Mass Effect. I just don't believe that EA will be okay with them going that long without a game again, because the simple fact is right now them not having the game since Anthem is a big enough deal. That's a big gap. That's a problem when you're paying for a big AAA studio that has multiple studio locations and so on and so forth. So I'm not saying that Jeff's wrong. He may be right, but if he's right, I suspect the game never comes out. is kind of where I'm at. My prediction still is that we're probably looking at the next Mass Effect. I would guess in 2027 is my best guess at this point. Maybe 2026 if everything goes perfectly. There were rumors about the game potentially not being open world. That would obviously cut down the time a lot, and that also would make that comparison to Dreadwolf kind of tough because we're expecting Dreadwolf to be this big giant open world experience, which obviously takes a lot more money and time and resources to make, where if the next Mass Effect is going back to a trilogy-esque hub and mission style game where there isn't a giant world they have to make, but instead lots and lots of small mission areas and smaller kind of explorable areas. That also changes the calculus as well. So I thought this was interesting because one, you can't discount his Grubb's history with being right about stuff with EA and BioWare. So maybe he is just saying what he was told. But then you also have to look at, in my opinion, all of the other things of the financials and just the time frames and the reality of what Dreadwolf's development has been, and how I suspect they're not planning on doing that again. I think it's just an interesting thing to look at. Again, I think the next Mass Effect is most likely to be out in 2027, which is still a long time away. It's 4 years from now. So we'll just have to wait and see. Maybe they will surprise us with getting a bunch of stuff done in pre-production, and maybe it will take only a couple years to put this out. They did, I believe, Mass Effect 2 in like 18 months, if I remember correctly. And a lot of people consider that the best game they ever made. But sequels are different than brand new games on a brand new engine. So we will have to wait and see. If you want more information on Mass Effect, news coverage, speculation, all of that, please subscribe to this channel. I also cover other gaming news and speculation and reviews and so on. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have your own thoughts about all of this, please comment down below or just say hello. That's nice too. If you want to support my channel, you can become a member here on YouTube. You can check out Patreon at patreon.com/BondDiesel, or you can maybe drop a Twitch sub over at Twitch, especially if you have Prime. I am Bond Diesel all over the internet, and I have 2 podcasts you can check out. One is The Bonfire. It's a weekly game news podcast. The other is the Mass Effect Hypecast, where I talk about Mass Effect and any news or speculation or just fan theories that we want to go over, and I will occasionally have guests on over there. So those are on all the podcast platforms and right here on YouTube. That's all I have for this one, so until next time.